Please join me, Yael Calhoun of Green Tree Yoga, for a trauma-informed program for pain management. This hour workshop is based on the book Trauma-Informed Yoga for Pain Management. It has 3 parts. The first is experiential with 20 minutes of a pain management practice. The second is informational. Types of pain, learning new ways to manage pain. What is trauma-informed? The third part is interactive, practicing breaks together. This practice can be done seated or standing. Find a way to breathe and to move that is comfortable for you today. One way to manage pain is with gentle stretches to reduce pressure on nerves and joints. When you are ready, stretch one arm to the side or overhead, fingers stretched wide in the tip-to-toe stretch. Then stretch the other arm either to the side or overhead, fingers stretched wide. Find your own rhythm as you stretch one arm and then the other. Take your time with each stretch. When you are ready, put your hands on your hips. If you like, lift one heel and press on your toes in a comfortable way. Then lift the other heel and press on your toes. Let's practice one more time. Lift one heel and press on your toes. Then lift the other heel and press on your toes. When you are ready, come back to standing tall with your hands on your hips. Gently press one shoulder back, then press the other shoulder back. One way we can manage pain in real time is by choosing how we breathe. If you like, put one or both hands over your heart. Put one or both hands over your heart. Long breaths out can lower blood pressure. The suggestion is to practice feel the breath 5 times. Feel the breath in. Feel the breath out. Feel the breath in. Feel the breath out. Always breathe in a comfortable way. Feel the breath in. Feel the breath out. Feel the breath in. Feel the breath out. Feel the breath in. Feel the breath out. If you like, gently move the fingers on one hand or shake that hand. Then gently move the fingers on the other hand or shake that hand. Now let's practice 3 quick and easy ways to reduce back strain. The suggestion is to gently press your shoulders back, press your hips back, and slightly bend your knees. Now, if you like, rest your forearms on the back of a chair in a comfortable way. Even small stretches can move you toward a healthier spine. As you breathe in, feel the press on the chair. As you breathe out, hips press back a comfortable distance. The suggestion is to practice several more breaths in the strong and steady stretch. Long, slow breaths out can lower muscle tension. On your next breath in, feel the press on the chair. As you breathe out, hips press back. Find your own rhythm as you breathe and move in a comfortable way. On your next breath in, feel the press on the chair. As you breathe out, press your hips back any distance. When you are ready, come back to standing tall with your hands on your hips. Gently lifting and tucking the tailbone moves the spine and can help keep spinal discs healthy. Give yourself a moment to tuck your tailbone. Then lift your tailbone. One more time. Tuck your tailbone and then lift your tailbone. This lifting and tucking is the hip rock and roll. When you are ready, gently press your shoulders back, hips back, and slightly bend your knees. Give yourself a moment to get set up again for kitchen stretch. The suggestion is to find your own rhythm. As you breathe in, tailbone lifts. As you breathe out, tailbone tucks. Take your time as you lift and tuck in hip rock and roll several more times. Notice where you feel the stretch as you move. Keep breathing in a comfortable way as you give yourself a few more moments to gently release back tension. When you are ready, come back to standing tall. Now, if you like, notice how it feels to practice 3 shoulder rolls back. As you breathe in, shoulders lift. As you breathe out, shoulders roll back and down. As you breathe in, shoulders lift. As you breathe out, shoulders roll back and down. As you breathe in, shoulders lift. As you breathe out, shoulders roll back and down. Now, if you like, find a comfortable seat, but you can also do these stretches standing or even lying down today. One way we can manage pain in real time is by choosing how we breathe. When you are ready, gently press one shoulder back, then press the other shoulder back. If you like, put one or both hands over your heart. Put one or both hands over your heart. Longer breaths in can be energizing. Long, slow breaths out can lower blood pressure. The suggestion is to practice the finger press breath 3 times. Feel the breath in, fingers press. Feel the breath out, release the press. Feel the breath in, fingers press. Feel the breath out, release the press. Feel the breath in, fingers press. Feel the breath out, release the press. Now, if you like, gently move the fingers on one hand or shake that hand. Then gently move the fingers on the other hand or shake that hand. If you like, give yourself a few minutes to practice the neck and shoulder sweep as a way to decrease pressure on nerves and joints. The suggestion is to use one or both hands to massage the back of your neck or if it's more comfortable today, the fronts of your shoulders. Gently massaging muscles as you sit can reduce physical and emotional tension. You may want to gently move your chin in a comfortable way. Moving an inch or a few centimeters can have benefits. Perhaps massage more firmly now. Again, gently stretching neck muscles can help to relieve some tension and pain. As you are ready, come back to sitting tall. The suggestion is to practice chin lifts and the pendulum stretch 3 times. Remember, even small stretches have benefits. As you breathe in, chin slowly lifts. As you breathe out, chin slowly releases. Always breathe and move in a comfortable way. As you breathe in, chin slowly lifts. As you breathe out, chin slowly releases. As you breathe in, chin slowly lifts. As you breathe out, chin slowly releases. Now, if you like with your chin still released, slowly move your chin from side to side like a pendulum. Give yourself time with each slow stretch. Give yourself time to find that better way to move. When you are ready, come back to sitting or to standing tall. Gently stretching muscles around the neck and the shoulders can reduce both physical and emotional pain. Now, if you like, let's practice 3 shoulder rolls forward and 3 shoulder rolls back. As you breathe in, shoulders lift. As you breathe out, shoulders roll forward and down. As you breathe in, shoulders lift. As you breathe out, shoulders roll forward and down. As you breathe in, shoulders lift. As you breathe out, shoulders roll forward and down. Remember that even small movements can have benefits. The suggestion is to practice 3 shoulder rolls back. As you breathe in, shoulders lift. As you breathe out, shoulders roll back and down. As you breathe in, shoulders lift. As you breathe out, shoulders roll back and down. As you breathe in, shoulders lift. As you breathe out, shoulders roll back and down. Practicing the physiological sigh 2 or 3 times can help lower carbon dioxide levels in the blood, which can lower anxiety. When you are ready, gently press one shoulder back, then press the other shoulder back. You can interrupt your stress cycle by choosing how you breathe. Always breathe and move in a comfortable way. When you are ready, practice a deep breath in and stretch all your fingers wide. Then breathe in more. Perhaps stretch your fingers more. Hold that breath as long as you like, and when you are ready, sigh it out. Fingers release. On your next deep breath in, stretch all your fingers wide. Then breathe in more, perhaps stretch your fingers more. Hold that breath as long as you like. When you are ready, sigh it out. Fingers release. If you like, gently move the fingers on one hand or shake that hand. Then gently move the fingers on the other hand or shake that hand. The physiological side is a way to practice lowering your anxiety levels in 2 or 3 breaths. Now, if you like, give yourself a few moments to create some simple stretches as you stand, sit, or lie down. You can move with me or find your own ways to stretch today. Perhaps move one arm in a new way, and then move the other arm in a new way. Today, you may like to move both arms in a new way. Now the suggestion is to take up space on this last stretch. If you like, put more effort into your breath in as you stretch your fingers and toes and arms. Take up space as you breathe and stretch in a comfortable way. Let's practice one more way you can interrupt your stress cycle. Notice if you have any area in which you feel discomfort, either physical or emotional discomfort. Or pick an area on which you want to practice, perhaps your knee. The noticing breath is 5 breaths. The suggestion is to practice long, slow breaths out that can lower heart rate, lower blood pressure, and lower muscle tension. When you are ready, gently press one shoulder back, then press the other shoulder back. On your next breath in, notice that area of discomfort. On your breath out, keep noticing. Instead of ignoring the discomfort, the suggestion is to keep noticing as you breathe. On your next breath in, notice that area. On your breath out, keep noticing. On your breath in, notice that area. On your breath out, keep noticing. Always breathe in a comfortable way. On your next breath in, notice that area. On your breath out, keep noticing. On your breath in, notice that area. On your long, slow breath out, keep noticing. Now, if you like, gently move the fingers on one hand or shake that hand. Then gently move the fingers on the other hand or shake that hand. You may want to practice the noticing breath later when you want to interrupt your stress cycle. Now, if you like, put one or both hands over your heart. Put one or both hands over your heart. Give yourself a few moments to make a 2-minute plan to use later when you want to change how you are feeling anytime during the day or night. You could plan to practice the finger press breath or the noticing breath. You might add a simple stretch, perhaps the tip-to-toe stretch or shoulder rolls. You now have a 2-minute plan to do at home or at work when you want to change how you are feeling. Now, if you like, give yourself a moment to notice how you feel. Let's take a few minutes to go around the room so everyone can share one thing they noticed about this trauma-informed practice. I noticed that. This program is based on the book Trauma-Informed Yoga for Pain Management, a practical manual for simple stretching, gentle strengthening, and mindful breathing. All the scientific studies, books, quotes, and references included here are cited in this book. Let's start with some pain management basics. The word pain is from the Greek word meaning to punish and from the Latin word meaning penalty. The International Association for the Study of Pain says that pain is an unpleasant sensory or emotional experience associated with or resembling that associated with actual or potential tissue damage. Pain is always subjective. So pain, as you already know, can be physical, emotional, or both. This definition, which is still used today, adds that pain is always a personal experience that is influenced to varying degrees by biological, psychological, and social factors. What does that mean? It means that how we experience pain can be affected by what is going on within us, in our mind and our body, and what is going on around us. How is this relevant to pain management? 3 reasons are that how pain signals work, how pain signaling can change based on what we do and even what we think, and how we can learn and then unlearn pain can guide our programs. That is, considering pain signaling can guide how we manage pain. If you are interested in more science, there are free downloads of 5 short, Science Made Simple narrated PowerPoints. Module 1 is the basics, Module 2 is your stress cycle, Module 3 is the breath, Module 4, stretching and moving, and Module 5, to learn and to unlearn. A quick science review may inspire you as you develop your program. The experience of pain begins with nerve cells or neurons, the building blocks of our nervous system. Neurons are nerve cells found in different parts of the body. Neurons send and receive electrical and chemical signals. How is this relevant to pain management? Because neurons are living cells and how they function or malfunction directly affects how we experience pain. Let's look at several types of pain. When you stub your toe or whack your thumb, it may swell. The swelling or inflammation at the site of injury is called nociceptive pain. Then, as the toe or thumb heals in a healthy system, the pain goes away. Neuropathic pain results from actual damage to neurons or from pain signaling issues. What does that mean? One example of neuropathic pain is multiple sclerosis, or MS. In MS, the myelin sheath is damaged and then a scar or thickening sclerosis forms. This scarring blocks signals and can cause pain and loss of function. Other examples with which you may be familiar are Parkinson's disease, shingles, fibromyalgia, phantom limb pain, referred pain, migraines, irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, and chronic fatigue syndrome. Another type of pain is chronic pain or learned pain. Its fascinating science is discussed in Science Made Simple, Module 1. Chronic pain or learned pain occurs over time and can continue even after the initial recovery period. It's a complex pain that is not fully understood. We will circle back to this idea when we talk about how neurons are involved in learning and in unlearning. Let's step back. Historically, Western medicine has relied on pharmacological or surgical treatments. But we know from experience that drugs and surgery cannot treat all pain. The challenge comes because there is no pain center in the brain, and there is much we still don't understand about pain. So many practitioners are exploring new ways to manage pain that involve both the mind and the body. To heal means to make whole. Let's look at 3 ways to heal using the mind and the body. Again, these scientific studies are referenced in the book. Exercise can have several benefits for pain management. Simple stretching can reduce spasms. Simple stretching can increase flexibility. This movement can take pressure off joints and nerves. You can see how tight muscles can press bones together that then press on nerves, causing pain. Simple stretching can increase range of motion in joints, another way to reduce pressure on nerves and joints. Movement also increases synovial fluid secretions, and that keeps the joint lubricated. That movement can keep things from getting creaky. Exercise can strengthen core muscles. These muscles are in both the front and the back, so gently strengthening core muscles can provide support for the spine. The second way practitioners are approaching pain management is by using the mind-body connection as a guide. What does that mean? The foundational work of Dr. Stephen Porges on the vagus nerve, the 10th cranial nerve, explores how signals are continually sent back and forth between the body and the brain. We pick up signals from outside of us, called exteroception, and from inside of us, called interoception. The signals are processed and return signals are sent. It's key to note that 80% of the signals are sensory, that is, from the body to the brain. Much more on that is in Science Made Simple, Module 2. How is this relevant to pain management? Well, it means we can manage our nervous system, which is self-regulation. And managing our nervous system is a key and empowering way both to manage pain and to learn new responses to pain. Self-regulation has been described as both top-down, the brain, and bottom-up, the body. Self-sensing means we have some awareness of how we are feeling. Then we can decide how to manage what we are feeling. We discussed how exercise, that is, simple stretching and gentle strengthening, can reduce pain and therefore stress levels. And we have another simple tool, which is bottom up. How we choose to breathe is a strong self-regulation tool. It's of note that breath work builds awareness, happens in real time, is free, is empowering, lower stress levels so learning can happen, is non-invasive, and is non-pharmacological. Now, if you like, give yourself a few minutes to practice the breaks in script number 1. There are some suggestions on practicing at the top of the script, and a general guide is to read the script as written without adding words, without adding reasons, and without rushing. People mention that not adding extra words can be quite challenging. Keeping the language and the movement simple, literal, and body-based makes it easier for someone who is fatigued or stressed to understand. Now, if you like, notice how you felt as you practiced using these scripts. Simple, literal, and body-based. The third way pain management strategies are changing comes from an increased understanding of and appreciation for how the brain can change or rewire. That is, for the science of neuroplasticity. More on this fascinating science is in Science Made Simple, Module 5. Quite simply, neuroplasticity is the way in which neurons, or nerve cells, can change. The neurons can change, and the way in which they work together, called neuronal connections or assemblages, can change. The ability to change the brain means Quite simply, we are not stuck. Dr. Eric Kandel won the Nobel Prize for his work on how we learn. He identified two ways, both through what we think and what we do. Again, this science underscores the importance of connections between the mind, that is thinking, and the body, that is doing. You may be familiar with these common expressions: use it or lose it, or practice makes perfect. Use it or lose it is based on the neuroscience that the less you think about something or the less you do something, the weaker or slower the neuronal connections become. Practice makes perfect is based on the neuroscience that the more you think about something, think math facts, or do something, practicing a sport or an instrument, the faster and stronger the neuronal connections become. Quite simply, it's body physiology. How is this relevant to pain management? Well, signaling issues can cause chronic or learned pain. The pain signals get stronger over time. But the good news is that it is possible to unlearn some pain responses. An inspiring example is a chapter in Dr. Norman Doidge's book about a pain doctor who studies how to manage his own pain. And we can unlearn maladaptive responses to pain and learn adaptive responses. For example, simple stretching and mindful breathing strategies. Now, if you like, give yourself a few minutes to practice the breaks in script number 2. Again, there are some suggestions on practicing at the top of the script, and a general guide is to read the script as written, without adding words, without adding reasons, and without rushing. People mention that pacing can be quite challenging. Again, keeping the language and the movement simple, literal, and body-based makes it easier for someone who is fatigued or stressed to understand. Now, if you like, notice how you felt as you practiced using these scripts. Simple, literal, and body-based. Now let's consider another area of growing interest in research that builds on all these ideas of the mind-body connection and neuroplasticity. That area of research is pain as perception. The renowned researcher Ramachandran wrote, "Pain is an opinion on the organism's state of health rather than a mere reflective response to injury." And to review, the International Association for the Study of Pain states, pain is always a personal experience that is influenced by varying degrees by biological, psychological, and social factors. Let's look at one notable example. In 1995, the British Medical Journal reported that a 29-year-old builder fell on a nail that went through his boot. In agony, he was rushed to the hospital, where it was discovered the nail had, in fact, gone between his toes. No injury. Pain as perception. You may be getting a sense of how complicated pain issues are. How is this relevant to pain management? Someone can learn to manage their perception of pain. One example is mindfulness. Scientists, doctors, and mindfulness teachers tell us that building awareness is the first step to managing your responses. One simple idea is offered by Dr. Jack Kornfield in his book, The Wise Heart. When some negative thought or feeling arises, instead of tensing and bracing for it, which starts the stress cycle, a more adaptive response is, "Oh, there it is. Okay, an opportunity to practice your choice of management options." And to repeat, An intriguing example of using mindfulness to rewire the brain is the chapter in Dr. Norman Doidge's book, The Brain's Way of Healing, in which he recounts the story of a pain doctor's success in healing his own pain. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, has proven helpful in pain management. Remember, thinking about, that is cognition, and learning new responses to pain can rewire the brain. Again, we are not stuck. How is this relevant to pain management? You may know from experience that pain and trauma are related. That is because pain and trauma share some of the same neuronal pathways. So an effective pain management program is also trauma-informed. And you can make any program trauma-informed. Okay, so what is trauma-informed? It is being informed about the physical, emotional, and mental effects of trauma. Trauma-informed is not being informed about someone's personal traumas. Consider using the Green Tree Yoga approach as an easy-to-use guide. Number 1, building safety. When you are ready, if you like. Remember, lowering stress levels increases someone's ability to learn its body physiology. Number 2, supporting empowerment. As you breathe in, as you breathe out. Again, when someone feels more in control, they feel less stress and are more able to manage stress levels. Number 3, maintaining simplicity. The suggestion is to keep your language and the movements simple, literal, and body-based. When someone is in pain, they can be quite fatigued or upset, both of which make processing words more of a challenge. You can understand how simple, literal, and body-based cues give someone less to try to figure out. Set yourself up for success by designing your program in a trauma-informed way. There is a chapter in the book with many suggestions. Set yourself up for success by choosing a few phrases or breaks to incorporate and building your program from there. Please visit greentreeyoga.org for information on the many pain management support materials, including flip charts for healthcare providers, clients, and patients. Please check this program's many resources, including lying down breaks and gentle strengthening breaks.